Hello and welcome to the Varietal Show. My name is Rory, and well, you're on Varietal Literature's YouTube channel. If you've never been here before, or if you came here for the Fireside Fairy Tales, which have been pretty popular for the last few months, this is not fairy tales or folk tales or ghost stories or anything like that. So if that's all you're here for, then thanks for checking it out. But if you do want to hang around, what we do, this is a write-along stream, and the point of a write-along stream is that we, well, write along. I'm going to be writing some stuff, and you can either pop in and throw ideas, or you can, sorry, Etch-a-Sketch, the brain there. You can either pop in and give ideas, or you can write your own stuff in the chat alongside me. And as long as it's not shocking and horrible, I will read it aloud. But what we are doing tonight is my God. Let's hope this doesn't keep up. What we're doing tonight is we're writing ridiculous romance stories between sort of Christmas folk. Specifically, I've named Frosty the Snowman because I think it's funny, and because there's a Sia song that or Sia that actually works with this premise. But you'll see what we do when we get there, so we may as well not waste any time. Hello GS, good evening. And yeah, and talk to, oh my, where is it? There it is. Go and talk to about our lit game. So, our lit game tonight is romance stories with, let's say, famous Christmas characters. I've sort of named Frosty the Snowman because I think it's funny, because he probably would melt, and there's something funny about that. But legitimately, it can kind of be anybody. And the structure that I'm going to work with tonight is sort of like quick little vignettes of major parts of the story. So I want you to think of it like a trailer. And then we're going to write little bits of that trailer with some minor exchanges. Just to try a different format. Because the problem that we ran in with romance when we tried to do it, last year, over a year ago, actually. The problem when we tried to do romance before was it's just so short form here that, like, romance doesn't really develop the way we want to. So, I see Big Drew's there. Hello, Big Drew. So, that's what we're doing. We're going to write sort of little vignettes about Frosty the Snowman. In what I'm calling a snowmance. Big Drew says it's a romance story, but can we please not discuss his snowballs or his other carrots? Thank you for reminding me, Big Drew. So we'll have sort of like maybe some light purple prose, but yeah, this isn't me writing, if anybody's wondering, this isn't me writing like legit pornographic fanfic about a snowman. If that's what you want to do, you're welcome to do it, but I'm not doing it on the stream. Frosty, a snowman, a winter snowman. I don't know, a winter snowman. Look, obviously I thought of the word snowmance, and then that's about it. We're out of ideas now. So I'll show you what I mean by a vignette. I'll just sort of lead by example, and then you guys can think about what scenes we need to, like, sort of highlight along the chain of events. So, like, it's sort of taking snippets from this imagined longer book, if you will. Sorry, I have a funky table leg. If at some point everything crashes in the stream end, just know that the table collapsed. From the day he was formed to the day... From the day he was formed, Frosty was jolly on the outside, but cold as ice on the inside. By the way, it doesn't just have to be Frosty, but I mean, that's what I put in the My God, what is the matter with my brain today? That is what I put in the icon for this YouTube video, so I feel like I have to follow through on it. Boy, oh boy, you want to hear just somebody stammer all day? By the way, this is traditionally the weekend where everybody realizes that they haven't done enough shopping or they are behind on something crucial. So who are you in that equation? Have you realized that you're way behind and you are planning a trip despite out to the stores this weekend, despite it being kind of a snowstorm in most places in North America? Frosty was jolly on so outside but cold as ice on the inside. He never imagined he could be warm, his heart could be warmed. But that winter was different. GS says I made my panic trip today. Did you get anything really cool, or were you shocked at the crowds? I had to give someone a ride somewhere before this stream, and it was stacked on the roads. It was also a pretty mean car accident. Do we want Frosty to just be like dating a normal girl or guy? Frankly, I don't care. Or do we want Frosty to fall in love with yet another Christmas character? That is my key question. I don't want to go forward until I get this answer here. But, you know, I accept that maybe chat isn't that active. GS said traffic was good, though. Oh, that's good. So the question is, who should be Frosty's love interest? Is it going to be like Rudolph but a girl? I don't know what I would do with that, if I'm being honest. Jack Frost. GS says Jack Frost. And I'm on a delay, so we thought of that at the same time. Yeah, we could do Jack Frost. The problem is, though, okay, this is such a weird thing to pick at, but here's my problem with Jack Frost. Jack Frost removes the core sort of comic tragedy of their interactions melting him, right? Because Frosty the Snowman's big thing is he gets melted by interactions. So maybe like Jack Frost is a part of the love triangle. Like Jack Frost likes Frosty, but Frosty likes someone else who's going to melt them. And Jack is like, no! With me, you could live forever. With them, but a season. See, I think there's a lot of pathos in that. But I don't know who that other would be. I do like the idea that Jack Frost is sort of like the safe bet. Because that's a classic thing in romance movies, right? Okay, for now, let's just do the classic female character, right? Okay, so we'll say that Frosty's bi here, that Jack Frost is trying to court Frosty, but Frosty has fallen in love with this human girl, so we can have a little bit of like forbidden romance there. What I need though then from the chat is some archetypal features of the romance girl that is being romanced by a snowman. For many years, the winds were etched with words of woo from Jack Frost, King of Winter. For the many new, addressed, let's say, to the many new lives, the children formed from the snow. However, no snowman ever liked Jack Frost. Or not liked. No snowman ever responded to Jack Frost laments and loving songs, for they were snowmen and not, is it extant life? Am I using that word right? Let me double check this. Okay, well, what I found was very confusing, but it seems to be life that persists, so, or even conscious. At all. I see Big Drew's already at his own stories, which is a reminder that you guys don't have to chip ideas into me. You can write your own stories alongside. If you're comfortable, you can put them in the chat. I'll read them aloud. If you're not, that's fine. We're just here to write together. I just realized that the color behind me is a very bland color. I'm going to change the color of the light. Let's go with maybe red. I mean, it is Christmas. How about that? It's a subtle change for you guys, but it's notable to me. Or we could go with green. Green's cool. And I go with green. I mean, I always go with green. Green's my favorite color. For they were snowmen and not extant life, or even conscious at all. But one day, when the children found the magician's cap, a snowman, the very essence of Jack Frost's designs, found the light of thought. The children named him Frosty. And And he was the first to respond to Jack Frost's whispers. Okay, so he's the first to respond to Jack Frost's whispers. However, before he had done so, there was a moment. Like, we can kind of get that premise in that first page. There was a moment where he saw a lady so fair and soft of flesh, he dissolved into puddles. He nearly dissolved, let's say, in puddles. Keep it metaphorical. Just for the sight of her. Warm eyes. I see that GS says Cindy Lou Who, but isn't Cindy Lou Who like 10? Like, I might be remembering wrong, but as much as I appreciate the contribution. What was the name of It's a Wonderful Life? What's the name of his wife? I have a very strange idea that I want to do, but I cannot think of the name of his wife. Gia says maybe the love interest is an icy clerk at the perfume counter. Isn't that always the way? It takes me back to see that in shows. Like, you don't see that much anymore. It's interesting because if you go to the Bay, the Bay's probably bigger in Canada than anywhere else, but it's not big here anymore, but it's still around. Mary, Gia says. If you go to the Bay, you still see these counters like they used to have, because they used to have these people that were basically just sort of sentinels of a certain product category. You know, there was the jewelry and watch counter, there was the perfume counter, there was the makeup counter, and they would just be kind of imprisoned in the panopticon of customer service, where they'd have to come over and take things out and show them to you, and they would sell you stuff. And it was like such an essential shopping experience for so long. I remember it. But it's not a thing anymore. And it's wild to see those abandoned counters in bays and stuff. Do you remember? I mean, this is a deep pull, but does anyone remember her name when she was single? Mary something? Mary was, it curse me, I've only ever seen this movie in black and white, so I don't know what her hair color was, but we're going with the classic brown blue eyes. Mary had soft brown hair and warm but lost blue eyes. Frosty bellowed. Wait. The lady, we haven't established her name. The lady had. Frosty bellowed out to her. Oh dear, lady. Why don't you come and dance with me and the children? GS says Mary Hatch. Now, did you just happen to remember that? Or did you Google that? Because I would be immensely impressed if you just remembered that. The children giggled and waved. The young lady turned, and upon seeing Frosty speaking, Frosty, a large, misshapen snowman, wave in her direction, speak to her. She screamed, "Ah!" and ran off. Just as I remembered only the Mary. I remember, like, it's weird the scenes I remember in that movie. I mean, obviously I remember some of the iconic ones because they get played, like the run on the bank one. You know, and him on the bridge talking. But the one that stands out for me is him wooing her at the fence by singing Buffalo Bill. Or her singing Buffalo Bill, I think it is. I don't know why that stuck in my young mind, but it did. I had the chance to see that movie in theater, and if you ever have a chance to see those kind of movies in theaters, you should. I know what you're thinking, like, why does it matter? But it's weird. It's I guess it's not that weird. The movie was made to be seen in a theater, right? So, like, there are details and texture to each shot that was not sort of optimized with a TV screen size in mind, and that becomes immediately obvious when you watch it on in theater. You see so much more. Buffalo gal, won't you come out tonight? Won't you come out tonight? Slipping and sliding on the uniced sidewalk. Gia says, it matters. It does. It does. It shocked me how much of a difference it really made. Slipping and sliding on an uniced sidewalk. It was decidedly not love at first sight. Okay, we're gonna do a scene break there. This is what I mean by we're doing a slightly different version of what we normally do. I'm doing kind of like the 2-minute trailer, but in prose. Jack Frost, on the other hand, having heard a response to his love letters upon the winds, sought out Frosty in urgency. Oh my, what magic has broken my loneliness and brought such a plump curvy snowman to my eyes. Jack Frost wailed upon seeing Frosty in a cold, moonlit midnight as Frosty waited for the children Gia says, do you mean unshoveled or unsalted? Yeah, unsalted. On the iced sidewalk. Let's just say that. On the icy sidewalk. And Drew, I will read yours. I just want to let you finish. Not trying to ignore you here. Jack Frost wailed upon seeing Frosty in a cold moonlit midnight. As Frosty sat upon the drifts in front of the children who had brought them to life. Him to life? We agreed it was a him. The home of the children who had brought him to life. Children's home. Nah, the children. It has to be the home of the children. Oh my god. Front of the home. This is a bad sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, we have written a bad sentence. Jack Frost wailed upon seeing Frosty in a cold, moonlit midnight. I see where I went wrong. You want to know what writing is? This is the core of writing. Sitting upon the drifts out front, the home where the children who had brought him to life slept. Frosty, startled, feeling his cheeks melt a little at these compliments from such a svelte and pale man. What kind of pickup lines do we think Jack Frost would use? The questions that I ask on this stream are not questions I've ever thought of in my life. But I'm asking, what kind of pickup lines would Jack Frost use on Frosty the Snowman? He was adorned in a suit that had a frame of delicate, unmelting ice upon it. Resting upon it. It made a high collar and crown that testified to his royalty. I like that, GS. I'm going to use that for sure. Oh. He folded his legs and came to rest in the snow next to Frosty. Touching his melting cheeks and whispering, "Well, no, we don't want a handsome fellow such as you disappearing for a little embarrassment." At the touch of Jack Frost's hands, the cheeks were preserved, for it was his gift as the king of winter to preserve all such creations. Big Drew's got another one. Oh wow, okay, that was the right question to ask. I've got so many pickup lines. Okay, so GS says, I've got the chills when I saw you. I think that's a good opener. Some of them are a little strong. They're all funny, but some of them are a little strong for the mood in the story. But I like Big Drew's first one and GS's next one. Oh my, said Frosty. Who are you? Why, I am the king of winter, the benefactor of your body. And I must ask, are you one of my very special snowflakes? For you are one of a kind. Jack Frost whispered into Frosty's. I get these moments where I have, like, I'm outside of my body for a moment watching myself do this. The Frosty's ear. Frosty didn't know how to respond. This Mr. Frost was confident but cold. Now, what do you say you hang out with me in the clouds? Jack Frost pushed like a strong gale of icy wind, unrelenting to even the most resistant of things. Because I must say, I got chills when I saw you, Frosty. Ooh. Frosty pondered this for a moment, but his thoughts went elsewhere. If he returned to Jack Frost's castle in the clouds, he would never be able to return. he thought... Actually, wait. Would he ever be able to return? He asked Jack, and Jack just said, "Why would you want to?" If you return, the sun will come and take you away. Chad is having a moment here. But then Frosty thought of those that gave him life and would miss him. No, not the dumb kids. He basically just depended on them because he had to. He'd lose them in a heartbeat. Had he a heart to beat. But Mary, the strange woman that had only screamed at him, was what gave him life. And if you're like, hey, this isn't very realistic romance, go check your romance movies. People like drop groceries and they're suddenly in love. What gave him life? He thought of her mousy hair and blue eyes. That's where his heartbeat was. Jack Frost was annoyed, but obviously not deterred by the rebuff of his proud advances. Whoa, ow. Sorry for your ears. Let's see what Big Drew wrote for a moment. Friedrich was polite to everyone in town, but inside he knew that only one could warm the cockles of his icy heart. Greta was a lonely baker. She'd bake for the town's holiday party, but never saw Friedrich. He'd been a recluse since the discovery in his teen years that on wintry new moon nights he'd turn as cold as ice, his features to lump of coal, and his perfectly coiffed hair to a top hat. Oh, cool. It's a snowman. I mean, I guess it'd be a wereman, but that doesn't work. A snowware? A were snow? What is it? Help me. On the winter solstice, Friedrich would hold a party at his palace above their tiny town of Chillsborough. Good name. Historically, there was very little turnout, but this year would be different. The new moon was a few days past the winter solstice, so he planned to decorated and invited the whole town. Smiths and shopkeepers, butchers and bartenders, the whole town turned out. Friedrich found his way to Greta, and as he made her acquaintance, he found her intriguing. He'd never seen her in town, he'd never met her, but she brought a bevy of baked goods for everyone. Greta was taken by Friedrich, stayed well beyond the party's end. They conversed until morning light, and when no moon rose, Friedrich was stunned to see his lady fair turn to snow, just as he. Upon the dawn of the waxing crescent, Friedrich declared his love for Greta. His love was received in return, and they were wed in the forest, with Rudolph in attendance and Santa officiating. Well, that's a very sweet story. Big Drew says also it's about a snowman coming to life and experiencing human emotions. Not very realistic, bad. I don't know. I mean, maybe snowmen are the next form of life. The next day, Frosty fully abandoned the children and roamed the town, largely terrifying people who did not understand what eldritch magic could animate balls of snow. Also, here I got an idea. It's kind of an old joke, but I could make it work. Let's change this question he asks her to "What is your name?" so then I can use it for a punchline here. Also, when he would ask about for the young lady, he gave her name as and not being sure that gestures weren't necessary to communicate meaning, held up his twig arms and ran when he did it. The town's people never knew such fear and horror from simple snow. Some fired weapons, but his soft, packed body, bound by snowmancy, it's telling me snowmancy is an unrecognized word. Come on, Google, get your head around it. Snowmancy is a real thing, of course. All my underrepresented practitioners of snowmancy, let me know in the chat. Some fired weapons. Oh, this table really is trying to give up. Give me a second. We might not be able to write much longer, I think. The table is trying to break itself. But his soft-packed body, bound by snowmancy, simply let the rounds pass through into whomever was nearby. Yeah, time for a cinder block. Yeah, I'm in what's called a kotatsu, so like I'm actually sitting on the floor if you guys never knew that. Unfortunately, the problem with the Katatsu is they don't leave a lot of space for, because they have a heater underneath. They don't leave a lot of space for cross braces, which makes this not so great. Okay. I will have to be quick. is the long and the short of it here. So the final scene, it was at the library where he found Mary. As that was her name, he determined. He found out from the desk clerk cowering in his shadow. Let's rephrase this. Her name, he found her name out, let's say. Mary, seeing him again, screamed again. Victor says, it's a horribly unstable surface for writing, and the thrill of uncertainty puts Rory on edge, making him a more adventurous writer. Running from him outside, seeing that the townsfolk had assembled what lumber they could to burn the horrors of talking snow and end the bloodbath which they had wrought upon themselves, but blamed Frosty for Jack Frost froze Main Street and all those upon it, and a flash of ice. He then skated to the door and called inside with his icy breath. Come to me, my love, my Frosty. Live forever. Frosty was beset between two futures. One where he would pull out his carrot nose to keep Mary's eyes unpoked. And melt upon her lovely pale pink lips. The other, where he lived forever in a place of comfort, but without passion. And seeing the sincere eyes of Jack Frost, at the library door. But the promise of the screaming Mary in the back of the heated library, Frosty finally said, "The snowman that burns twice as hot burns half as long." Then he waddled his trail of liquid in the direction of Mary and away from the tearful Jack Frost. Mary, it was said, never touch snow again. All right. There's a little bit more I wanted to do, but I can't. So I'm going to read this back. So if you're jumping ahead, we wrote sort of like vignettes from an imagined longer Frosty the Snowman love triangle romance novel, what we call a winter snowman's. From the day he was formed, Frosty was jolly on the outside, but cold as ice on the inside. Never imagined his heart to be warmed, but that winter was different. For many years, the winds were etched with the words of woo from Jack Frost, King of Winter, addressed to the many new lives that children formed from the snow. However, no snowman ever responded to Jack Frost's laments and loving songs, for they were snowmen, not extant life. And even conscious at all. But one day when the children found the magician's cap, a snowman, the very essence of Jack Frost's designs, found the light of thought. The children named him Frosty, and he was the first to respond to Jack Frost's whispers. However, before he had done so, there was a moment where he saw a lady so fair and soft of flesh, he nearly dissolved into puddles just for the sight of her warm eyes. The lady had soft brown hair and warm but distant. That's more what I meant to say. Distant stare from her blue eyes. Frosty bellowed out to her, "Oh dear lady, what is your name?" The children giggled and waved. The young lady turned, and upon seeing Frosty, a large, misshapen snowman, speak to her, she screamed, "Ah!" and ran off, slipping and sliding on the icy sidewalk. It was decidedly not love at first sight. Jack Frost, on the other hand, having heard a response to his love letters upon the wind, sought out Frosty in urgency. "Oh my, what magic has broken my loneliness and brought such a plump, curvy snowman to my eyes?" Jack Frost wailed upon seeing Frosty in a cold, moonlit midnight, sitting upon the drifts out front of the home where the children who had brought him to life slept. Frosty startled, feeling his cheeks melt a little at these compliments from a svelte and pale man. He was adorned in a suit that had a frame of delicate, unmelting ice resting upon it. It made a high collar and crown that testified to his royalty. He folded his legs and came to rest in the snow next to Frosty, touching his melting cheeks and whispering, "Well now, we don't want a handsome fellow as you disappearing for a little embarrassment." At the touch of Jack Frost's hands, the cheeks were preserved, for it was his gift as the King of Winter to preserve all such creations. "Oh my," said Frosty. "Who are you?" "Oh, Frosty." "Oh my," said Frosty. "Who are you?" "Why, I am the King of Winter, the benefactor of your body, and I must ask, are you one of my very special snowflakes? For you are one of a kind." Jack Frost whispered into Frosty's ear. Frosty didn't know how to respond. This Mr. Frost was confident, but cold. "Now, what do you say you hang out with me in the clouds?" Jack Frost pushed like a strong gale of icy wind, unrelenting to even the most resistant of things. "Because I must say, I got chills when I saw you, Frosty." "Oh." Frosty pondered this for a moment, but his thoughts went elsewhere. If he returned to Jack Frost's castles in the clouds... Castle... would he ever be able to return? He asked Jack, and Jack just said, "Why would you want to? If you return, the sun will come and take you away." But then Frosty thought of those that gave him life and would miss him. No, not the dumb kids. He basically just depended on them because he had to. He'd lose them in a heartbeat had he had a heart to beat. But Mary... I guess he didn't know her name. But the lady... that lady... the strange woman who had screamed at him was what gave him life. He thought of her mousy hair and blue eyes. That's where his heartbeat was. Jack Frost was annoyed, but obviously not deterred by the rebuff as his proud advances. The next day, Frosty fully abandoned the children and roamed the town, largely terrifying people who did not understand what eldritch magic could animate balls of snow. Also, when he would ask about the young lady, he would give her name as "Ah!" and not being sure that gestures weren't necessary to communicate meaning, held up his twig arms and ran when he did, just as she had done. The townspeople never knew such fear and horror from simple snow. Some fired weapons, but his soft-packed body, bound by snowmancy, simply let the rounds pass through into whomever was nearby. It was at the library where he found Mary. And yes, he found her name out from the front desk clerk, cowering in his shadow. Mary, upon seeing him again, screamed again, running from him. Outside, seeing that the townsfolk had assembled what lumber they could to burn the horrors of talking snow and end the bloodbath which they had wrought upon themselves but blamed Frosty for, Jack Frost froze Main Street and all those upon it in a flash of ice. He then skated up to the door and called inside with his icy breath, "Come to me, my love, my Frosty, live forever!" Frosty was beset between two futures, one where he would pull out his carrot nose to keep Mary's eyes unpoked and melt upon her lovely pale pink lips. The other where he lived forever in a place of comfort, but without passion. In seeing the sincere eyes of Jack Frost at the library door, but the promise of the screaming Mary in the back of the heated library, Frosty finally said, "The snowman that burns twice as hot burns half as long." And then he waddled his trail of liquid in the direction of Mary and away from the tearful Jack Frost. Mary, it was said, never touched snow again. There is a debate going on. I'm not going to read it all out, but there's a debate going out on chat of who sang and who voiced various things in Christmas music. All right. Well, I mean, as per usual, that was stupid. which is half the point. Just having fun with writing. Big Drew, I liked your story. I liked that it had a kind of folklore feel. If you guys are watching and jumped ahead, Big Drew had his own story going on in the chat. I read it out on stream, or you can find it in the chat. Thank you, GS and Big Drew, for your help on the story, though. The pickup lines from Jack Frost, I didn't get to use them all, but I like them all. Next week is our last show for the year. Our last Varietal show is our last set of shows for the year. I might do some stuff over the holidays, but it'll be pre-recorded. So make sure you guys come by and find out how I fix this table. Yeah, anyways. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Because I need to cash out. Thank you very much for coming by. Now get out of my shop.